Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Vishpad Paramahamsa Pravijikacharya Sotarasata Shishimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki. I have a book, please. ISKCON founder Acharya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Vishpad Paramahamsa Pravijikacharya Sotarasata Shishimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki, Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath, Shad Goswami Prabhugan ki, Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ke, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ke, Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ke, Jagannath Puri Dham Ke, New Govardhan Dham Ke, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ke, Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrindi Ke, Gaur Premanande. Our glories to the assembled devotees. Our glories to the assembled devotees. Our glories to the assembled devotees. Our glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhantale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Niveshesha Sunyade Paschatya Dhistarne. Getting to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29. Text number 61. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Who's speaking here?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam.
Nitai Gaur. Tapas.
Prabhu, I think we had this verse on last class, 4.29.61. If you want, you can go ahead one more time.
I had a sneaking feeling that was what we did, because I thought Dravida Prabhu talked about Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto, that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that each progressive item of bhakti becomes easier and easier to do. We're going to read 62. Does everybody have? Thank you, Tapas. But I read for 62. Everybody? Who? All righty. Verse 62. Mamaite Manasa Yad Yad. Mamaite Manasa Yad Yad. Asau Aham iti bhuvan. Asav aham iti bhuvan. Ganiyat tat paman radham. Ganiyat tat paman radham. Karma yena punar bhava. Karma yena punar bhava. Maite manasa yad yad. Asavaham iti bhuvam. Ganiyat tat pamam radham. Karmayena punar bhavaha. Mamaite manasa yad yad. Asavaham iti bhuvam. Ganiyat tat pamam radham. Kamayena punarbhavaha. Please. Namaite manasa yad yad. Asavaham iti brvan. Mamaite manasa yad yad. Asavaham iti brvan. Karmayena punarbhava. Mamaite manasa yad yad. Asavaham brvan. Ganiyat tat pamam radham. Karmayena Pramarbhava. Mama, mind. Ete, all these. Manasa, by the mind. Yet, whatever. Asau, that. Aham, I am. Iti, thus. Bhuvan, accepting. Gurniyat, takes with him. Tat, that. Puman, the living entity. Radham, perfected. Karma, work. Yena, by which. Punaha, again. Bhava, material existence. Translation, the living entity labors under the bodily conception of I am this, I am that. My duty is this, therefore I shall do it. These are all mental impressions, and all these activities are temporary. Nonetheless, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity gets a chance to execute all his mental concoctions. Thus he gets another body. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. As long as one is absorbed in the bodily conception, his activities are performed on that platform. This is not very difficult to understand. In the world, we see that every nation is trying to supersede every other nation, that every man is trying to advance beyond his fellow man. All these activities are going on under the name of advancement of civilization. There are many plans for making the body comfortable, and these plans are carried in the subtle body after the destruction of the gross body. It's not a fact that after the gross body is destroyed, the living entity is finished. Although many great philosophers and teachers in this world are under the impression that after the body is finished, everything is finished, this is not a fact. Narada Muni says in this verse that at death one takes his plans with him, graniyat. And to execute these plans, he gets another body. This is called punar bhavaha. When the gross body is finished, the plans of the living entity are taken by the mind, and by the grace of the Lord, the living entity gets a chance to give these plans shape in the next life. This is known as the law of karma. As long as the mind is absorbed in the laws of karma, a certain type of body must be accepted in the next life. Karma is the aggregate of fruitive activities conducted to make this body comfortable or uncomfortable. We've actually seen that when one man was about to die, he requested his physician to give him a chance to live 4 more years so that he could finish his plans. This means that while dying, he was thinking of his plans. After his body was destroyed, he doubtlessly carried his plans with him by means of the subtle body, composed of mind, intelligence, and ego. Thus he'd get another chance by the grace of the Supreme Lord, the Super Soul, who's always within the heart. Sarvasya chaham ridisani vishto matatsmatir jnanam apornam cha. In the next birth, one acquires remembrance from the Super Soul and begins to execute the plans begun in the previous life. It's also explained in Bhagavad Gita in another verse. Ishvara sarvabhutanam riddesharjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra rudhani maya. Supreme Lord situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. End quote. Bhagavad Gita 1861. Situated on the vehicle given by the material nature, and reminded by the Super Soul within the heart, the living entity struggles all over the universe to fulfill his plans, thinking, I'm a Brahmin, I'm a Kshatriya, I'm an American, I'm an Indian, and so on. All these designations are of the same essence. There's no point in becoming a Brahmana in preference to an American, or becoming an American in preference to a Negro. After all, these are all bodily conceptions under the modes of material nature. Could we pray together for some mercy? Maybe we can hear and remember a little bit what we hear. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shita Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karana Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhana Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I guess I'll go ahead and first say, for anybody who has sensitivity in terms of the use of language called political correctness, heaven forbid, when was this purport dictated? And let's have the microphone. We need 2 mics because I'm going to be asking some questions, and it shouldn't be just Dravida Prabhu answering all of them. But when was this purport dictated? Microphone, please. Bhakti Glenn, you got it.
You can, I can use the other one.
That's
wireless.
smart. That would be a great
This
idea.
is probably 73, 74, late 73, early 74.
In those days, it was politically correct to say Negro. Now I think you have to say African American. But if you get hung up on just the details, which is what really so many people are obsessed with these days, looking to find fault because they want to destroy people with faults. And who doesn't have fault? Sooner or later, everybody gets in the crosshairs if this cancel culture expands, and becomes the norm. Certainly Krishna consciousness will be. But the main point is a material body is a material body is a material body. Doesn't matter if you're Lord Brahma or you're a germ, a bacteria. You got a body that's going to force you to suffer because you're not that body. But there's this linchpin called the false ego that we've embraced, and we think we're that body. Whatever body it may be, however uncomfortable or comfortable it may be. And Narada Muni is trying to slap King Prachinabarhi out of bodily consciousness. It's in the Bhagavatam so that we can be slapped out of bodily consciousness. Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter one time. Bodily consciousness. We're talking about death, birth, old age, and disease. Birth, old age, disease, death. It just keeps going on and on and on. And Lord Krishna says that we should realize those are evil. They're not meant to be embraced and experienced by the living entity. Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness means to be on the platform of deathlessness. Every shloka in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam is informing us of this. If you read these books carefully, you'll understand this platform of deathlessness as opposed to the material condition in which no one wants to die, but one cannot check death. So, okay. Everybody sitting in this room, including myself, we're going to leave the body and experience what is called death. But for us, those who embrace the gift found in every verse of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, etc., those who accept the gift, they'll never have to experience any of it anymore. That's what's being offered here. So don't get hung up on the details. There's so many details. I'll go ahead and get this one out of the way. I mean, we are in crazy times. I just talked about political correctness and cancel culture. God, if that's not Kali Yuga, the age of quarrel, I don't know what. Prabhupada was talking about, nation trying to destroy nation. Man trying to exploit another man. What's the basis of all that, Bhakta Glenn? Why do we do that? What's the root of wanting to destroy, to exploit, to control others? Can you use a microphone?
To dominate another person.
What's the root cause of it? Why do we do it? What is within us that forces us to do that?
Ignorance.
That's a good answer. There's something even more specific. Can you hear him? Tapas, can you hear Bhakta Glenn?
Yes, Prabhu. I can
Okay.
hear.
We can hardly hear him. Anything besides ignorance come to mind?
Desire.
Desire, it's all part of it. Anybody want to help him out? Envy. Got us here in the first place, and it's keeping us here until we give it up. So all this council culture, all this argumentativeness, it's all based on envy. It is a dreadful, you want to talk about a disease, that is a dreadful, horrible disease with far worse repercussions and symptoms than what people are so absorbed in these days. So in Krishna consciousness, we want to absorb ourselves in the nectar of the holy names, the nectar of the glorifications of Krishna found in scriptures and repeated by saints, sadhus, Vaishnavas. We want to be educated. We want to have common sense. We want to know what is what so that we can chart our course of service to the Lord and Vaishnavas in this life. But our absorption, because there's plenty of fault, individually, collectively, in any and all, including this movement, etc., devotees in this movement. But one time, one exalted devotee, a disciple Bhaktisiddhanta, approached Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur and said, this Prabhu in charge, big manager, he's ciphering money right and left. And the history's there. There's no question about it. Srila Prabhupada said the same thing. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur asked him, did you join this movement to talk about these things, to become absorbed in this, or to chant Hare Krishna? What do you want to become absorbed in? Choice is ours. I preface that with, don't be idiots. Don't be, thinking, I can just stick my head in the sand. And if you are being revealed, are we being given the gift of revelation of the purports of Bhakti, Bhakti Siddhanta, Bhakti Vedanta, then Krishna will protect you at every step. You can close your eyes and run as fast as you can in the service of the Lord, and you can jump off the cliff without a net. You're in Krishna's hands. But Prabhupada wants intelligence. He wants common sense. He wants us to take the process step by step. You can't, what's that Bengali saying where don't try to eat the grass while jumping over the fence? Do you know a saying like that, Ramapati? Can you give him a microphone? It's right beside you.
डिंगिया घास खा.
And what does it mean?
Try to pass the horse. Yeah. Try to pass the horse. Try to pass the cross and trying to eat the grass.
That's what it means, right?
Yeah.
In other words, don't jump over where you're at. You have to take it step by step. in the process of bhakti. So we do that in the, by being trained. Oh, there is such need of training in our movement. It's what its purpose is, actually. But because we don't have sufficient training, we have people misunderstanding, not understanding. This goes on. Prabhupada's aware of it, and that's why he stresses time and time and time again, take to the process as it is. Study my books. I gave you everything in my books. Take advantage of it. So anyway, that was the point. What do you want to become absorbed in? That was the main point. Krishna are aspects of Maya, even when dovetailed in the service of the Lord. So I said the linchpin was the false ego. That's what's causing us to take birth after birth after birth, because we have great plans and desires, like you said, Bhakti Glenn. There's a great line. I remember it, and I can say it now. There comes a time when most of us return here, brought back by our desire to be a perfect entity. So the line Bhakti George wrote in The Art of Dying. And Prabhupada personally saw somebody, asked the doctor, while he's on his deathbed, he asked the doctor, can you please give me just 4 more years? I mean, what ludicrousy. This is a dream. Daydream, night dream, both are dreams. Bhakti Vinod quoting Lord Chaitanya saying, Jeev Jago, wake up. Wake up, sleeping souls. How long are you going to sleep in the lap of the witch called Maya? How long? But I'm this and that. I have this and that duties. How many of you, when we chant japa, think about duties we have to do? It's bogus. Even studying for class. You're chanting and these thoughts are coming. You try to, but really the chanting is for the hearing of the chanting. The chanting is praying to Krishna, please give me service. And you don't have to worry about remembrance and knowledge. When you are surrendering, Krishna gives it. And he gives it when we become empowered by surrendering to the service of hearing and chanting the holy names. And I'm chiding myself, preaching to myself just as much as you, but I'm aware of it and I try not to do it. Bring the mind back from wherever it wanders. Stick to it. This determination, this strong desire. I loved what Maitreya Prabhu said the other day. We're not meant to think that spontaneity or of attraction and service to Krishna is something that you get when you're an old man. There were followers in Prabhupada's times that they achieved it and they were young, in their 20s. They were embracing what Prabhupada was giving them. We should want that same thing. Seriousness, determination, desire, hankering, greed, all synonyms for, come on, wake up. And of course, part of that gradual purificatory process is doing the duties. They're so very important. It's interesting, oh my dear mind, oh brother. You see that a lot of times in the prayers translated, oh my mind, oh my brother. I mean, that's, we're not this body, we're not the mind. So we're not what we see in the mirror, and we're not that voice that's going on in the head. So, it's a friend or enemy. It's my brother, I'm stuck with him for right now. It's not that you always love the family you're born into, but you're born into that family and you got a connection, right? And in Krishna consciousness, you try to purify the connections. And you perform your duties in a detached manner, but trying to be compassionate. So in the same way with the mind, there's no jumping out of it. It's there until we're destined to, by the grace and mercy of the Lord and Guru, that it'll become purified, be spiritualized, I saw a great quote Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, matter is matter, and spirit is spirit, and matter never becomes spirit. Now think about it. What kind of thoughts are going through your head right now? Does a pure devotee have a spiritual body? Is it spiritualized? What's the understanding? What's the purport? We want to purify the body, mind, words, the desires in Krishna's service. We want to spiritualize them. But ultimately, the body, mind is anartha, it's unwanted, it's unnecessary. The soul does not need it at all. When the body is fully engaged, the mind is fully engaged, the words are fully engaged, the intelligence is fully engaged in desiring simply to please Krishna, executing the service to Krishna, then it is completely spiritualized. It is liberated. It is not of this world. It acts as if it is spirit. And the inconceivable aspect of it is even sometimes such devotees can go back to Godhead in the very self-same body. That's spiritual. But he was saying in the context, don't think just because you're externally doing something, that means you're engaged in the service to Krishna. Krishna is a prakrita. He's not of this world. Devotional service to Krishna is a prakrita, not of this world. We are a prakrita, the jiva, the eternal servant of Krishna. We're not of this world. And to be on that platform of pure Krishna consciousness, the term used all the time by Srila Prabhupada, but really means that in the absolute sense, then we have to fully surrender and fully get the mercy. Enough mercy to get the purity of bhakti. Just takes a drop, actually. But to get that drop, generally speaking, it means giving your life and soul in the service to Guru, Vaishnavas, and Krishna. And that's what every verse is encouraging us to do. I'm going to jump into, we barely scraped Lord Shiva Katha, Shiva Tattva. Whew, what a deep one. He is the personification, in the universal form, does anybody know what element he is? Hold on, let's raise hands on this. Do you know what he is? I'd like Ravi, he never gets a chance.
What I remember is he's the glance of Mahavishnu.
What does he represent in the universal form? Is the question.
Ego.
Yeah.
Ego.
Ego. Very good. Which really means the false ego. False ego is controlled by Sankarshan. Each one of the Chaturviya, they have one has intelligence, one has the mind. Sankarshan has the ego. And Lord Shiva prays to Sankarshan to do his services. Unalloyed devotee of Sankarshan, begging for the mercy of Sankarshan, begging for service from Sankarshan, from the Lord. Now, here's a question. Let's boil down what Balaram Prabhu gave us. Am I right in saying you heard or read your spiritual master's Shiva Ratri class? Fifth Amendment was taken. There's no shame in saying, I repeated, I plagiarized, I repeated as... That's what we want to be doing. If you're getting something that's never been said before by Guru or Vaishnavas, put a mask on that man's face and then shove it in his mouth. Or tell him to go to the closet, shut the door, and finish the statement. So, how do we understand Lord Shiva? This will raise the hands. What is the main understanding? How do we think about Lord Shiva? Who or what is he? Raising of hands? Ramapati? Let's get a little other participation on this side of the room too. We're going to give it to Ramapati though.
He's not a Jiva, he's not a Supreme Lord, he's in between.
Okay. You didn't highly emphasize that in a statement. So that's a good answer. Let's give somebody another chance. How, from what he said yesterday.
He's the best friend, guru to every living entity in this world.
Wonderful. He's the best Vaishnav. He's the guru. He's our guru. He's our Mahajan. He's our authority. He's one of the 12 Mahajans. I would have accepted demigod or guru. You emphasized both, didn't you? He's not God, right? You said that. That was half your answer. He's not God. He's not Jiva. He's Shiva. I want you to remember that. He's not God, and he's a demigod. Basically, that's what Srila Prabhupada hammered again and again. When asked, could you tell us more about Lord Shiva? Oh, I could tell you so much, but I've written in my books one way. Prabhupada stuck to it. He kept it simple. Like we had our Prabhu come and have a short darshan, 2 minutes of Radha. And he revealed to us in that 2 minutes that he was fasting for Shiva Ratri. So he came to get the blessings of Radha and he was going to try and worship Lord Shiva. I wish I'd had the wherewithal just to ask him. May I ask you a personal question? If you're fasting today for Shiva Ratri, what do you want to accomplish? I feel good in the fact that he came to get blessings from Radha, probably to do his fast and to please Shiva. Perfect. Perfect. But there's more to it, so much more. Shiva Tattva is about as complex as anything. Like the second offense in chanting Hare Krishna. I say it after the second, 12th round, 22nd round, when you get on the twos. Shivasya Shivishnoryaya Gunamana Sakala Viyamanang Pasit Sadkalohi Nibatakara. What is let's all say it together. Second offense of the holy name is? Lord Brahma, to be equal to or independent, the holy names of Lord Vishnu. So he's not equal to, nor is he independent. Right? That's what he said. Would you be surprised that Sanatana Goswami in Brihad Bhagavatamrita translates twice in purports on Shiva's glories? One who sees differences between any of Shiva's qualities and names and those of Vishnu is an antagonist to the holy names. You would be surprised? Yes, Tapas, we might entitle this The Bewildering Glories of Lord Shiva. Now, how can he be identical with God? This will be, of course, in the contents of Achintya Beda Bed. He is and he isn't. So how is he equal with God? In a sense. How is he God? In a sense. Anybody have any idea? Raise your hand. He's a Guna Avatar. Aren't the Guna Avatars spoken of by Lord Chaitanya to, was it Sanatana Goswami? That's an incarnation of God? An expansion of God? Yeah? You're taking words right out of my mouth. Very well said. Lord Brahma, 99 times out of 100, is a jiva. And Ramapati Prabhu is shared with us, Shiva is not a jiva. So even though in the Nectar Devotion where it says the jivas have up to 50 qualities that can manifest, in purity of bhakti, all 50 qualities will manifest. Lord Brahma included. Then in the next 5, it says that Brahma and Shiva can possess these. Well, Shiva definitely possesses them. My conviction is that Jiva Brahma does not necessarily possess these. Our Brahma, one of my godbrothers, has said, when asking Srila Prabhupada, is our Brahma a Jiva or Krishna? Because when there's not a Jiva qualified to take the post and service of Brahma, Krishna will step in. The show has to go on. And he asked, is our Jiva, our Brahma a Jiva or Krishna? He said it. He's Krishna. So he's a special Brahma. That's why he's a Sampradaya Acharya. Evidently, any jiva theoretically can become Brahma, and according to one purport, we all have been Brahma. First slot to slide into when you take birth in this material world. It's a good chance to turn around, to get it right, and say, what in the world am I doing here? But obviously most of us don't, if we had that chance. But anyway, Lord Shiva has 5 qualities, transcendental qualities. He's changeless. He's all cognizant. He's ever fresh. Satchidananda possesses an eternal blissful body and possesses all mystic perfections. Distant souls can't say that. We aren't, even when we become liberated, we're not all cognizant, etc. And then Narayana, of course, has 5 more, and Krishna has even 5 more. He's the Adi Purusha Swayam Bhagavan. So anyway, he's a Gunavatar. He is in possession or in control of the mode of ignorance. And that's generally how Srila Prabhupada emphasizes, so you realize he's not Krishna. But he's not independent of Krishna. Every breath, every word, every act that Shiva performs is in service to Krishna. That's where he's guru. That's where he's the best of Vaishnavas. He is a possessor of love of Krishna. To hear these things, it's very good because it can help us. When Balaram quoted the verse for his class, that, you're very dear to me, being devotees of the Lord. I can respect and worship you even more than the Lord because you're devotees. And I know you feel the same way about me. Well, do we? If he's just another figure that we very, very rarely hear about or talk about or read, he's in the Bhagavatam. He's all over the Bhagavatam. He's all over Navadvip Dham if you get to do parikrama. He can be a factor in our life. He used to come and listen to Prabhupada's lectures and kirtans in Berry Place. Build a Vyasasan for Shiva and Brahma. They're coming to hear my classes. Lord Shiva, this is incredible. You want to understand Shiva, read Brihad Bhagavatam Rita because it gives it both. Narada is looking for the devotee who's received the most mercy, and Brahma is going, it's not me, son. Shiva, he's got the mercy of the Lord. And so he goes to Lord Shiva and he glorifies him. Brahma can mess up and the Lord will chastise him. Why are you giving benedictions to demons like Hiranyakashipu? Knock it off. Lord Shiva does basically the same thing. How many demons has he given benedictions to? Ravana? Did you ever hear mention in the scripture that Lord Krishna told him, Lord Ram told him, knock it off? No. He didn't even chastise him. How about Bana? He caused enough trouble. He kidnapped the grandson of Krishna. Banasura, we had mention of him yesterday. He didn't chastise him. In fact, Lord Shiva fought Krishna to protect his devotee. Did Lord Krishna become upset, offended? I'm going to put you in your place. He defeated Shiva Jwara. He defeated Shiva. He defeated Banasura and all the armies. The armies are a burden on the earth. I've killed them because of that. But Lord Shiva, when he was down from 1,000 arms to 4 arms, Shiva realized, don't kill him, please, my Lord. And basically, Lord Krishna said, no, I bless him to eternally have a 4-armed form and to be your eternal devotee. He has no need to fear. I grant him deathlessness, I grant him fearlessness. Because he was a devotee of Lord Shiva. The intimacy of Lord Krishna and Lord Shiva's relationship, super deep. Us sadhana bhaktas can hardly understand at all. Rupa Goswami gives us understanding. His relationship with Krishna is mixed. It's servitude and friendship. It's a mixed relationship. Like our Garuda or Uddhava. Both are described in the same way. Very exalted. So Narada Muni says, you're never chastised. In fact, the Lord says, no, I totally approve of your suggestion. You asked, I'm giving. Whatever Lord Shiva wants, Krishna gives. But he's so difficult to understand. So at this point I interject, how does Prabhupada preach we should understand him? 2 things. I'm not in a wax museum, am I? It's the question. It's been asked. The answers have been given. What 2 ways does Prabhupada want us to understand him as? He's not God, which means he's a demigod. And he's the greatest devotee, greatest servant of the Lord. Okay, I'm going because I'm telling you some other things that our Acharya, Sambandha Acharya, Sanatana Goswami is teaching us. But I want you to keep on the straight and narrow, keeping it simple. If you can digest this, then it's great. Because you will probably be more likely to take more seriously the opportunity to pray to Shiva for mercy. Your spiritual master did in the lecture, didn't he? They had a picture of him, I believe it was Gopeshwar, where he's bowing down, taking the dust from Gopeshwar's. I mean, we made mention of, praying for the sidelong glance of Srimati Radharani. Can you grasp how exalted that is? That you're wanting the mercy of Radharani? Most Vaishnavas, they don't have a clue of who Radharani is. What to speak of desire to become her maidservant. He's our guru. We want his mercy. Ramapati made mention of it in talking about him as guru. Made mention of it yesterday. In Godruma Dweep, there is Maha Varanasi. Varanasi is his place in India, on Bharatvarsha. Outside of Bharatvarsha, you have Mount Kailash that he is given to Kavera. Okay, this is yours. But Lord Shiva stays there. He blessed Kavera to become the treasure of the demigods because he pleased Shiva so much. And then he's in Ilavrita Varsha. You want to talk about being detached. You know how many women he's surrounded by in Ilavrita Varsha? Anybody read the 5th canto lately? It's just him and his wife and their maidservants. You know how many maidservants there are serving him in Bhavani? 10 billion. He's the only male. They're all right there. You know they're beautiful as all get out. These are not ugly old hags. That was spoken by an ugly old chunk of coal, so I was telling Janardana, hey, Krishna made the body to become wrinkled, become sick, to become old. No. But he and Jagannath Das Babaji, they have a quality in common. His day is tomorrow. I hope we get some nectar on him. He's another personality. You spend time in Navadweep. His samadhi and Bhajan Kutir are there. A Siddha Bakul tree that he chanted. His pure holy names is there. That living entity in that tree is a Param Vaishnava, a Paramahamsa. You can beg to get his mercy, having come from the mercy of Jagannath Das Babaji. What quality comes to mind that Shiva and him have? There's probably several, but I got one thing in mind. Thank you. Can the man have a... Let the audience hear.
Renounced.
Akinchana. They have no attraction to anything of this world. Nadanam najanam nasindarim. I don't want wealth. I don't want the prestige. I don't want disciples. I don't want beautiful women. Have you noticed? And I'm saying this with folded hands. Is it just me? But when we get a beautiful young fortunate soul coming into our company and we want to make them feel comfortable, but can you tell how the energy just kind of changes? Honestly? You know, everybody kind of perks up. Everybody wants to be, very... Do we do it in the same way to the elder lady? I was happy to see actually we did. So that's the obeyed. Yeah, if you're steady and being that kind and giving to everyone who comes in this. But there's a thing about the bodily concept. and you should be aware of it, there's an attraction there. The energy changes. So, enough said on that. Keep giving the mercy, and if you stay in that platform, you'll always be protected while kindly sharing Krishna consciousness. But Lord Shiva, he's surrounded by 10 billion maidservants. His wife is Maya Devi. He could have any and all opulences, all enjoyments of this world. Is he attached at all? Does he take advantage of any of it at all? He's not like Brahma. Purports, Sanatan says, Brahma, he loves the celestial garland. He likes having the Lord right next to him and accepting his offerings and the praise that comes. Prophet distinction, adoration, it comes with bodily concept, and it affects Brahma too. Any Brahma that's not a 100% pure devotee of the Lord, it affects them. Lord Shiva, on the other hand, you know what his you got two correct answers in this. You know what his garlands are?
Skulls.
What kind of skulls? He has the skulls of Vaishnavas, Mahaprashadam. That's crazy. Anybody but Lord Shiva does that, they're crazy. Lord Shiva takes the Mahaprashadam, and he's exalted and glorified that his devotion is beyond description. He also has garlands of an intoxicating weed, an intoxicating plant, started with an L. I don't know if I'm going to find it. He's not attached to the beautiful garlands. He smears his body with ashes. It's kind of easy to figure it out now whose ashes they are. They're Vaishnav ashes. Always absorbed. And you know why he's so attached or takes such nice care of Mother Parvati, Durga, Maya Devi? Do you know why? Because he sees her as Krishna's sister, Maha Bhagavati. She was born, she appeared in the womb of Yasoda and was, Vasudeva came and placed his baby son there, taking her to Mathura. And in Simanti Dweep, when she's begging, help me, Lord, help me. I'm putting everybody in Maya. I'm always behind you. How will I ever get your mercy? He's going, what are you talking about? I see you as none different from Srimati Radharani. You're just performing a different service. A much needed service. It's unfortunate that it's needed, but us conditioned souls, we're given this material world to play in the dreamland until we wake up. Come back. He said, you've got my mercy. She took the dust from Lord Chaitanya's feet, put it on the part of her head. Simantini Devi. Lord Chaitanya, Lord Shiva, I started to say in Varanasi, Mahavaranasi is actually in Navadvip. All the holy tirthas, the original tirthas are in Vrindavan/Navadvip, in Godrumadvip. And you know what Lord Shiva does for anyone who passes away, giving up their body in Varanasi there, Mahavaranasi? He'll come to your ear and shout, Gora! Gora! Giving you Gauranga praying. Or we heard about his swallowing the poison, right? 8th canto. Vishnu was there. Why didn't he do it? He could have done it. Certainly he could have done it. But what's the general statement that our spiritual master says? Why does why does the Lord not do these things? And he asks a devotee to do it. You've got the mic?
Give glorification to the devotee?
Yeah, to glorify his devotees. So Shiva did it. He drank it, but he didn't swallow it. Interesting enough, one Vaishnava said he didn't want the poison to go down toward the region of the heart. My worshipful Lord is in my heart. I'll keep it in my throat. Burned his throat, a blue line. When he chants, or heard Narada Muni chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That blue line disappeared. Because in the presence of the holy names, the pure holy names, in the presence of the pure holy Lord, all inauspiciousness becomes purified and white, clean, pure. Yeah. Parvati, he didn't have the mic. Parvati thought, this isn't my husband. Where's Nilakanta, the blue-throated one? And in the Navadvip Dham Mahatma, you know what Bhakti Vinod Thakur says he does for the pain, the burning sensation, the poison in his throat? He chants the Ananta Samhita. You know what the Ananta Samhita is? Sankarshan, one time asked, Ananta Sesha asked, Hare Krishna, Vishnu, would you please tell me the glories of Radha and Krishna? And Narayan said, who do you think you are to hear about the glories, the most confidential glories of Radha and Krishna? He chastised him. Pretty bold request you're making there. But Anantasesha was sincere. He begged and he got the gift, the description. Narayan told him the Ananta Samhita, and Lord Shiva heard it from Anantasesha, Sankarshan, his worshipful deity, his worshipful Lord. And it's the glories of Lord Chaitanya. If you don't worship Lord Chaitanya, you're never going to understand the glories of Radha and Krishna. To truly understand the glories of Radha and Krishna, you have to become a maidservant of Radha and Krishna. No chance whatsoever if you don't worship Lord Chaitanya. The one, the only opportunity. Not in the line of Rupa Goswami. There's so many compartments or aspects, petals of Goloka and Vrindavan. One, Radha and Krishna are married. So not that kind. Not the understanding of not Vallabha, Nimbarkacharya. They worship Radha and Krishna with more opulence. Not like that. No. The mood and line of Lalita, Rupa Manjari, etc., only coming through Lord Chaitanya, Rupa Goswami, etc. So, Lord Shiva gave that transcendental knowledge to his wife. And Bhakti Vinod Thakur has given it to us, several chapters in this Navadvip Dham Mahatmya. Very, very much worth reading. So, he is a qualitative incarnation of the Lord, but as Sadashiva, qualitative means he controls the mode of ignorance. His job is to destroy the planet, destroy the universe, forgive me, when it's time to wrap it up, make it unmanifest. When he first appeared from Lord Brahma, that's what he started doing. He expanded as the Rudras, 11 Rudras, and they started playing, dancing, and destroying. Brahma said, no, hold on here, hold on. Stop. It's a great talent, great propensity, ability you have, but let's use it at the proper time, at the proper place, when the Lord wants to wrap it all up. Okay. So he's infected. He associates with and is infected by that mode of ignorance. Prabhupada emphasizes like that, so we don't think he's God. But as Sadashiva, he's not infected by that mode of ignorance. He's not in this material world. You hear the verse from Brahma Samhita, above Devi Dham is, what is it called? Mahesh Dham is what the Sanskrit is, Lord Shiva's abode. It's right there in the border of the material and the spiritual. It's a liberated planet. He's fully liberated. There is no contamination of Maya. All those who worship him. This is important. You talked about, what was that Prabhu's name from Spain? That was a friend of Mahatattva, lived here for a bit. Pedro. He worshipped Lord Shiva. He was attracted to Lord Shiva. I wasn't as mature then as I... Wow, does that sound stupid? I have a little bit better understanding than I did back then. Hopefully that's the case with all of us as time progresses. But Sanatana Goswami says, anybody who worships Lord Shiva, understanding he is an expansion of the Lord, his empowerment is coming from Krishna. He is an expression of Krishna for performing service or activities. One who worships him in that way, devotedly, in an unalloyed sense, fully focused, determined, fully surrendered, they get to go to Maheshtam, Shiva Loka. And you know what they do there? They engage in Sankirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And they're always worshiping Sankirtan every day. Lord Shiva does the puja. Everybody assists him with the articles and chanting the Lord's holy names, etc., etc., and they eternally get to do that. And so Narada has glorified him as such a recipient of the Lord's mercy. You are the Lord, you're the Lord's devotee. And that's our main emphasis. Kintu prabhurya priya eva tasya. Because he's so very dear to the Lord, because he's in love with the Lord and thinks himself the servant of the Lord. He knows himself to be the servant of the Lord. Therefore, he's very dear and should be offered all worship and respect. He's our guru. So when Narada Muni glorified in these ways, at first Shiva was embarrassed, ashamed. And then he thought Narada Muni was making fun of him, because what are you saying? How do you describe me like this? Everything you said is, I see it completely different. I was so puffed up, I fought against my Lord. I fought against my Lord. I became angry when he tried killing Banasura. What kind of devotee is that? What kind of servant is that? And plus, who did he give the task of preaching Mayavad, covered atheism to? Narada glorifies him as you because you're the greatest devotee. He can trust you. You'll do it perfectly to protect the sanctity of Vaishnavas and pure devotion. Shiva sees it because I'm so fallen and offensive. He gives me that service. Contaminate, bewilder everybody of this world. Not everybody, only those who are envious, who want to become God. In fact, one time, do you know what Lord Shiva did? He prayed to Krishna to become greater than Krishna. Now, right there, you jump on that, it sounds like, man, how puffed up is that? That's the same mood of a conditioned soul. But you know what the thought process behind him doing it was? I know I'm dear to the Lord. Somehow or other he's kind upon me. I get such mercy. And he's embarrassed when he hears his glorification, just like I'm embarrassed. But he's embarrassed when some close to him is really extolling his glories. But I want to ask him to become his unalloyed servant. I want his blessing. I want nothing but service to Krishna. So I can't glorify him, so what do? I prayed to him to become greater than him. And what's the purport of that? The devotee is offered and empowered to do things that even Krishna himself doesn't do. Why? Because the Lord likes to see his devotees glorified. So in actuality, he was covered. He was praying for unalloyed pure devotional service. If I get that, then there will be times that the Lord will even, he didn't want this, but this is how it is manifest. Lord Ram prayed to Shiva for the ability to cross the ocean of to Lanka. It coincided with the Ekadashi a few days ago, Vijaya Ekadashi. Lord Ram observed Vijaya Ekadashi and he prayed to Lord Shiva, please help me cross. He prayed to Lord Shiva for the son Pradyumna. Krishna is so humble that he takes shelter of his devotees and asks for their blessings. I mean, just let's try and wrap our heads around the Vaishnavas and the Lord. Humility is the foundation. They feel themselves in need of the mercy of the Vaishnavas and the Lord. That's the nature of love. That's the nature of Krishna consciousness. It's the actual makeup of our identity, of who we are. Lord Shiva exemplifies it perfectly. So these are some interesting thoughts that Sanatana Goswami shares with us. There's so much more, but I have to shut up. And how does Srila Prabhupada want us to mainly understand Lord Shiva? 2 points. Dravida gave a mic to somebody. Where'd that go? Yeah?
He's not a Jiva and he's not.
You're sticking with your line. What's the 2 ways Prabhupada wants us to?
He is not God, he is demigod, and he is Vaishnavanam Yatash.
Yeah, he's not God, he's a demigod, guna avatar, parentheses, expansion of God, incarnation of God. But we are worshiping Krishna. We don't want to go to Shiva Loka Mahesh Dham. We want to get his blessings to go to Krishna Loka, to Goloka Vrindavan, to serve Krishna and Radha and the Vrajvasis. And Lord Shiva can help. He can give anybody anything they want. Material opulence, no problem. Liberation, Lord Krishna gave him the blessing because he's so pleased with him. You and Parvati can give liberation to any conditioned soul you want. Despite the fact that Shastra has the glorification of the Lord, only the Lord can give liberation. Only Vishnu. But he is empowered. It's right here in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Parvati and Shiva. But he took that also. What kind of benediction is that? The Vaishnavas want nothing to do with liberation. They want prema bhakti. They consider that hellish. Shiva and his eternal consort, they can give it also. They have Krishna prema, they can give it. That's why they stand at the Dham, protecting it, the Lord and his associates, and the eternal Leela from those who are unqualified. But if you get their mercy through the service of Guru and Vaishnavas and themselves, the curtain can part and let you into the Dham, to the eternal service of the Lord. Are there any questions or comments? Sorry, Tapas, I was long-winded. Anybody have any comments or questions? I can't believe there's no thoughts on that class. If that didn't have a little bit to it.
I just wanted to say that, thank you for giving this exposition. It shows that I could remind that the ocean of Vedic understanding about different aspects, it's so deep, and it's quite fun as to explore it with full heart.
Nice comment. The glories of the Lord and his devotees are incomprehensible. Unless you're on that level of transcendental love, incomprehensible. We just repeat what we hear and pray for understanding. Balaram?
I was thinking, because you were mentioning that verse of that I read yesterday about
Most dear?
Yeah, how Shiva
24:20.
How Shiva was saying how all of you see me as the most dear, right?
Yes.
Because So, and then you said today in your class, oh, do we see that? Do we see Shiva as the most dear, to us? So yeah, it's a great point because it's just.
Did I say most dear, or did I say dear? Someone we should be.
Was it dear or most dear?
Yeah. Anyway, proper understanding most. I wasn't saying he above everyone else, but certainly one of our Mahajans we should be taking shelter of.
Yeah.
The mercies to be had.
So I was thinking in relation to that it's whatever, just a little comment, but I thought it's an important point because it's so important to understand things in the right way, or else we'll be really cheating ourselves and not really and actually being offensive. Like, to understand Shiva, or try to understand Shiva, at least to whatever little degree we can, will allow us to have the proper respect, the proper, understanding on how to see him. how to see,
Yeah.
And same with the spiritual masters, same with the Vaishnavas, is that if we don't have the proper conception, because there's maybe a tendency, oh well, he's Shiva, he's a demigod, and we don't really worship demigods, or there may be all these different misconceptions. So to understand, these different points is it's important. So, and same with Prabhupada, or same with so many other great devotees, we have to try to do our best to do our part to understand it, whatever little we can, so we could reciprocate and advance and not be offensive. So.
Thank you, Balaram. Very nice point. Sometimes it's said Guru Tattva and Shiva Tattva. They're the deepest topics, very difficult to understand. And if we're demeaning or belittling someone or something that should not be, what's that based on? What's causing it? Yeah, but ultimately, yeah. In this particular instance, I was thinking it's nothing but false pride. I think I'm an advanced devotee, so it's very easy for me to just, It's just so easy to minimize others. When in fact, it should be turned on ourselves, and we should be minimizing ourselves and lifting up, glorifying, seeing the good, certainly, in Guru, Vaishnavas, and Krishna, but everyone. Now I've become embarrassed, and I want to stop, and hope that you have a wonderful day. I hope that this encourages you. There's so much to read on Lord Shiva. I mean, it's just as good a avenue to go down in glorifying the Lord and His devotees. And I'm telling you, Shiva is merciful. He likes to see you purely worshiping the Lord and the devotees. And He'll give you bhakti if He sees you doing that. He sure can. Srila Prabhupada ki, Mahadev ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. We have a question in YouTube.
I'm going to be so quick and succinct. Everybody leave now. Everybody leave if you have hunger pains or duty. Yes, Prabhu, who's asking?
It's from Ajadashi.
From India?
Ajadasi.
Okay.
She's American. I think you know him. You know her probably. Ajadasi.
Radha Dasi?
No, Aja Dasi. Aja.
Aja Dasi, okay. Hare Krishna,
Okay.
Aja.
Her
Dasi.
question is, did I hear you correctly? Did you say our first birth in the material world is as Lord Brahma?
Ah, you were listening. Srila Prabhupada says that in a purport in the 4th canto. I'm sorry, I don't have it right here, but I bet that would be easily found in the Veda base, looking that up. Yes, that's a fact. That's what Srila Prabhupada says. Shows you how long we've been in the material universe. We were a Brahma, which was the entirety of one creation. Who knows how many creations. Now it's time to take advantage and get out. Jeev Jago. Do like Lord Shiva. What is it? Shiva Shuka Narada Preme Gada Gada. If you get a chance to go to Kirtan, go. If you are in Kirtan, chant and dance and play musical instruments, just like the spiritual master. Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitra Gita Vaditra Madhyan Manasorasena. If we do that, at some point, Romancha Kampa Shrutaranga Bhajo, the tears, the hair standing on the end, the heart melting, will be the gift that we receive. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ajadasi. Thank you, Tapas.
So I have a question.
All righty.
So you said that our Brahma is Krishna.
I said that our godbrother of mine said that Prabhupada said that, yes?
When in Brahma Maha Lila, Lord Brahma got bewildered in Krishna Lila, and he stole the...
Right? How is that possible?
Yeah.
Because he's perfectly playing the part of Lord Brahma. Just like Vyasadeva, in a purport in the first canto, Srila Prabhupada says he's not simply a Jiva, a Shakti Vaishavatar, our Vyasadeva, and you start to get the drift. This is a special day of Brahma. This time in Lord Brahma, this Manvantara in the day of Brahma is super special. Our Vyasadeva is a plenary expansion of the Lord. He's also God. But how did he become bewildered? How did he give everybody the how would you say, encouragement to worship demigods, to engage in fruitive activities, etc., instead of pure bhakti? Why wouldn't the Lord just, as Vyasadeva, just give us the pure? It's a good question, isn't it? The reason being because we're all at different points. The Lord knows it's a long process. The big picture is you got to start somewhere. So if you are following Vedic culture, slowly but surely you can come to the point of getting the piety of associating with devotees and then becoming eligible to perform devotional service. So yeah, it doesn't negate it. Just like the Madhvas, they are in our Sampradaya, but they don't like to talk about that pastime because they have a hard time reconciling how can our founder Acharya of our Sampradaya Guru be in Maya? Hey, poop happens. Api chet sudaracharo, even pure devotees sometimes. How about Lord Shiva? He had the desire. Can I see the Mohini Murti form you exhibited to the demons and demigods? I came a little late to the show. I didn't get to see that darshan. And the Lord smiled. Oh, really? You want to see that form? Okay. Then all of a sudden, she, being the Lord, manifests Mohini's Murti. She's playing with a ball, if I'm not mistaken. The breeze is blowing, her garments slip off. She's so beautiful. Shiva is his wife's right there, becomes completely bewildered and overcome, and he runs after, trying to grasp her, to enjoy with her. And in the process of running after her, he discharges semen. And all the sages are seeing Lord Shiva go crazy bonkers over wanting to enjoy with Mohini Murti. And then, after discharge of semen, you kind of cool off a little bit and realize, what was I thinking? But he admitted defeat at the feet of the Lord and said, you will always defeat me. It's appropriate. And he has no problem setting an example for us conditioned souls how to be careful what we wish for, that the opposite sex, or in this fallen age of Kali, whatever sex or species it might be, if lust is the medium of reciprocation, it will be the source of your embarrassment minimally and your suffering for sure. So they have a hard time reconciling it, but Lord Chaitanya's followers, we don't. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you for your answer. Thank you for your nice class.
Thank you for your patience. It was a longer one. I hope people will forgive me. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.